Hey guys, it's Jess, and I'm excited to be sharing a new project with you for Trinity Stamps today. I am using this really super cool layered stencil, and I will have everything linked down in the description for you in case you want to check anything out. But this stencil has multiple layers so that you can create your own scenes without having to do all of the work and the thought that goes into designing that. It's already been done for you here, and you can just layer them right on top however works best for you. So I decided to do some distress oxide ink blending. So the first color that I pulled out is Antique Linen, and I'm just using a mini ink blending tool to go ahead and blend that color on. I should probably have used something to either tape down my stencil or like a magnet board to hold it in place, but I wasn't thinking about it at the time, but it would have made my life a lot easier. So if you guys are going to do this, I would recommend getting something to hold your stencil in place, even if it's just like some tape on the back of your image that holds that stencil in place. All right, so then I pulled out another color here. This is the Tea Dye Distress Oxide. So what I've done here is selected a few lighter shades of brown from the Distress Oxide family so that it looks like my forest has a varied appearance in the way that the trees look. It will look like some of them are closer and some of them are farther away or more in the distance. And I think that that gives a really super cool effect. Rather than having all of the trees the same color, you get a lot more depth and dimension this way. It is worth noting that you could have started by blending your background a solid color first, something very light that you could then blend over. I left my background white, but if that bothers you, you could absolutely add another color either before or after, though it may be easier to add it before. If you're using a medium like Distress Oxides, you can definitely use a lighter color in the background and then blend over top of that with one of your darker colors, and they aren't going to get really muddy because these ones do layer over top of one another. But if you're using distress inks, you will want to keep in mind that those colors are going to blend together a lot more rather than layer on top, and then that way you'll be able to decide which ink medium is best for you and which colors to use as well. Okay, so now that I have all of my trees that I want added into the background, I decided to pull out this really cute little leaf stencil. I thought it looked really super adorable, like a burst of leaves in the spring maybe, because I wanted to go for more of a spring vibe. I did pair this with an autumn stamp set, but I hope that you can see you can pair this with anything all year round and make it work. I thought this would be really cute, like all the trees were just starting to get their leaves or they're blooming, and I think it's really super cute with the little deer that I'm going to add in a little while. So first I went in with a lighter colored green, and then I wanted a little bit something brighter, so I added the Twisted Citron. And then I also went in with some pink after that, which I thought was really super cute. A nice touch that really brightened it up and made it feel more spring-like, in my opinion. You can see here I've used the worn lipstick, and I thought that was the perfect touch. It made me really happy when I pulled away the stencil and saw it. I was like, yes, this is perfect. And I think it really changed the way that it looked. Once I got all my background completely done and ready to go, I did go ahead and stamp out this cute little deer image. Again, I have everything linked below for you guys if you want to check what I'm using out, but I'm just using some Spectrum Noir alcohol markers here to color in the deer image. Nothing fancy, I'm just using the markers, just the lightest color first, and then going in with the progressively darker colors as I go ahead and blend that ink. I'm going to go ahead and pop just a little bit of music on for you while I do that, and then I will be right back with you to finish off the card. All right, so now our coloring is done and our cute little deer is all cut out and ready to be added to our card. I did want to go ahead and add the sentiment first. So I'm using this adorable thank you Senti-mini. What a cute name for a stamp set. And I did get a little bit too much ink on my stamp at first, and I knew that it was going to ruin my background. So I did go ahead and clean that off and then re-stamp it just to make sure that I didn't have too much ink. If you do get too much ink, it can pool up and then kind of ooze out where you don't want it, and then your sentiment is ruined and obviously your background as well, so that would be a huge bummer. And then I did go ahead and pair a smaller sentiment from the same stamp set that says for everything. So all together it will say thank you for everything, and I thought that was super sweet. And just with the little deer, this could be for anything, and I need more of those types of cards in my stash. I hope you guys like to make things like that as well. I appreciate having just the more generic cards in my stash. That way I can use them for any occasion that pops up. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and attach my little deer, but first I knew that I wanted to add kind of a little bit of ground for the deer to stand on. So I used the edge of that stencil that I used for the little leaves in the background, and then I just used it to trace a little border. Alternatively, you could also flip the stencil the other direction and then ink blend and basically use that stencil as a mask for your background at the top. Either way works totally fine, but I thought this worked out just fine because I already had my markers out and ready to go. I'm adding a little bit of detail so that it doesn't look so plain, and then I'm going to go ahead and put that deer on. He needed a little shadow, or she, I'm not sure if it's a girl or a boy, but the little deer needed a little shadow to stand on, so I did add that with a little bit of alcohol marker as well, and that pretty much finishes off their card as far as adding little details. Once I got my shadows in, I went ahead and added some liquid adhesive to the back of the deer and put that right on top of the little hill there, and then I go ahead and mount that on a white A2 size card base. I did add a little bit of white gel pen into the eyes just to make it look a little bit more lively and bright, and I think that's a really cute touch, something small that you can do that makes a big difference when you look at the card as a whole. All right, attaching that to my white A2 size card base, and that finishes off the card, you guys. I hope you love it. If you do, be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments. Be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in another one really soon.